Hi there, and welcome to another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. What's in the box today? Box. Shiny. And it is Cinnamon by Neil Gaiman. Gaiman. And illustrated by Divya Srinivasan. There you go. There's an illustration with a tiger and a lady. And the tiger is taller than the lady, so maybe it's a very small lady, or a girl, as they're sometimes known. Let's see. I don't know this book, actually. I've not read it before. It's from the library, which is a great source of books. Here we go. It's in English, which is nice. It's quite nice paper. It's not shiny paper. It's almost, I don't know what you call it. Quite high quality. Quite high quality print. I don't know. Sometimes you can read. I don't know if you know this as a tip. One of my tips that sometimes they tell you what paper things have been printed on. It says it's natural and recyclable, and it's made from wood grown in well-managed forests, so that's nice. But I don't know if it tells you like what the grade of the paper is. Never mind. Let's get on with it, shall we? Cinnamon was a princess. Oh, I thought Cinnamon would be the tiger. That's funny. Sold me a dummy there. Unless it's a princess tiger, but it's probably the girl on the front there, and probably also this girl here. There she is. I expect it's the same person. Has some sort of nose furniture, nose ring. I don't know if that's a real nose ring. Cinnamon was a princess a long time ago in a small hot country where everything was very old, except Cinnamon. A small hot country. We'll see if this is a specific country. It's unlikely to be India, because that's big. But I guess it could be another country where they have tigers. It's got very interesting eyes. They're very big and white, and not coloured in. I don't know if she's blind. Her eyes were pearls. Oh, here we go, yeah. I spotted that, well that's good. Her eyes were pearls, which gave her great beauty, but meant she was blind. It's unfortunate. Her world was the colour of pearls. Colours are in the British spelling. Neil Gaiman may be a Brit. Or this may just be the British edition. Her world was the colour of pearls, pale white and pink, and softly glowing. Cinnamon did not talk, so she's both blind and mute. Not quite sure. I guess they mean, when they say her world was the colour of pearls, I guess they mean she could kind of see this kind of colourful haze, or soft white and pink haze. She did not talk. Her father and her mother, the Raja and the Rani, that's like king and queen, I guess, offered a room in the palace. A field of stunted mango trees, a portrait of the Rani's aunt executed on hardwood in enamels, that's quite hard to say, and a green parrot to any person who could get Cinnamon to talk. Okay, so they put up like a bounty, that's what they're doing there. Consisting of a room, some trees, a portrait. It's a bit of a weird thing to offer. Well, I guess the Rani's aunt is some sort of royal personage as well. There's a peacock and there's a peahen, but they're not part of the offer. Okay. They don't. Well, I don't know. Raja is smirking a bit, but the Rani, which isn't a word I knew before actually, so I've learnt something. She looks a bit worried. She must be concerned for her daughter. The mountains ringed the country on one side, the jungle on the other, and few and far came the people. Few and far came the people. What does that mean? to try to teach Cinnamon to speak. I guess that means there weren't many people, but the ones that did come came a long way. Few and far. There's a strange way with words, this Neil Gaiman. It's probably deliberate. I'm sure it could write more clearly if he wanted to. There are some elephants. Here's someone coming to try to teach Cinnamon to speak. Someone who wants to get their hands on some stunted mango trees. Or possibly the green parrot. There is a book called Where is the Green Parrot, which I haven't reviewed yet on this channel, but which I may do. And the green parrot is on every page. It's a bit like one of these Where's Wally things. Not really. But you have to find the parrot on every page anyway. I haven't been on the lookout for green parrots yet. I don't think they are here. There's a black swan though, which is fun. So there are birds of different colours. Where were we? I do like this paper. But come they did, and they stayed in the room in the palace and cultivated the field of mango trees. Sorry, they're supposed to be trying to teach Cinnamon to speak, but instead of that they're just cultivating the mango trees. Or have I skipped a page here? I'm getting a bit puzzled. Sorry, just a moment. I thought you just got given all that stuff once you got her to talk, but it sounds like... So they cultivated the mango trees. There's a picture and then a comma. Carries on. And fed the parrot, and admired the portrait of the Rani's aunt, who was quite a celebrated beauty in her day, although she was now old and crabbed and pinched with age and disappointment. There's the green parrot. And eventually they went away, frustrated, and cursing the silent little girl. Here's frustrated person. Looks very annoyed. Okay, so they get to like look at the stuff they're gonna get. I guess that's kind of like try it. And that's supposed to kind of motivate them, I guess. So they're trying to get her to talk, is that right? Rather than trying to get her to see. More one thing at a time, I suppose. The Raja was wearing a very fine pink coat in that picture. Okay, what's next? One day a tiger came to the palace. He was huge and fierce, a nightmare in black and orange, and he moved like a god through the world, which is how tigers move. Okay. Not quite sure what that means. Just very, very self-confident, I guess. So he owns the place. Though there is nothing to be frightened of, said the Rajah. Very few tigers are man-eaters. But I am, said the tiger. Oh, it's a talking tiger. Maybe it is a god then. In tiger form. Gods are known for assuming the forms of animals when they come down to earth. The green parrot is there being a bit scared, so it is showing up on a few pages. That's probably the ant. This one looks a bit old. So the tiger could talk. The people were much amazed. Much amazed. I think it's trying to be old-fashioned. It said it was like a long time ago, didn't it? Yeah, a long time ago in a small hot country. So that's probably a justification for the slightly odd language. That the tiger could speak, although it did nothing whatsoever to quell their fear. So it was trying to scare them. You might be lying, said the Rajah. I might be, said the tiger, but I'm not. Now, I am here to teach the girl cub to talk. Girl cub. I think in the Jungle Book they call Mowgli or Mowgli or whatever you want to call him a man cub, so it's probably a play on that. A little nod. But I thought that was because he was brought up by wolves. And I was guessing that you called a wolf child a cub. But it's probably a nod to the Jungle Book and Kipling. Because there's an old lady there, that might be the ant actually, but it's probably this one. When you might be able to tell based on her facial furniture. Yes, she has that's a very similar ring to in the portrait. Yes, that'll be her then. And there's the parrot being all alarmed. What are they going to do then? The Raja consulted with the Rani and, comma, very comma heavy, some of these sentences. Despite the green parrot's up there again, that's nice. It's almost like, and where is the auntie? She's always cowering in the background. Looking a bit dodgy. The Raja consulted with the Rani and, despite the urgings of the Rani's aunt, who was of the opinion that the tiger should be driven out from the city with brooms and sharp sticks, the tiger was shown to the room in the palace, and given the enamel painting, and the deeds to the mango field, and he would also have been given the parrot, had it not squawked and flown to the rafters, where it stayed and refused to come down. That is all one sentence, and it goes over 7 lines. That is one long sentence. I was assuming this was aimed at quite young children, but I think you would have to be quite a sophisticated reader not to get lost in that sort of sentence. All those ands and commas and what do you call them? Subordinate clauses or something, or relative clauses. Things like the rafters, where it stayed, and there was who was of the opinion that. It's very easy to get lost. You might get muddled and think the tiger is of the opinion that it had flown to the rafters or something. But it is clearly written if you read it bit by bit, but normally in a children's book, certainly of the ones I often review on this channel, like the ones I often review on this channel, normally the sentences would be much shorter than that and punctuated with things like full stops to give you a chance to breathe and recalibrate. That's quite a funny picture, actually, where they're just showing the tiger, the portrait. They're in a city then, driven out of the city. They hadn't mentioned the fact they were in a city before. It almost looked like they were in the countryside. All this nature around them. Well, the parrot's quite wise up in the rafters. Oh, here's the parrot centre stage. Cinnamon, that was the princess, was shown into the tiger's room. There was a young lady from Riga, squawked the parrot. Riga is in Latvia, which is a small country, but not known for its heat, so I doubt they're there. From high in the rafters, who went for a ride on a tiger. Oh, well maybe it's Riga then, maybe it's not Riga. Maybe it's a different town called... Because that must be meant to rhyme, that's too close. So either the parrot's saying tiger, or it's saying Riga. Maybe that will be revealed. Then there's like a... I don't know. I'm not quite sure. There's a picture now. I mean, the whole thing is obviously illustrated, but there's like an illustration of an illustration. It's kind of more cel-shaded in the drawing style. So anyway, this parrot is squawking, and it says, they came back from the ride with the lady inside, so it is meant to rhyme, and a smile on the face of the tiger. And there's this drawing of the tigers having eaten. These are what I meant by the drawings within the drawings, which is kind of cool. There's the lady inside the tiger. And then there's something in parentheses. It says, although in the interests of historical and literary accuracy, I'm obliged to point out here that the parrot actually quoted another poem, much older and a little longer, with, ultimately, a similar message. Okay, that's weird. Not quite sure. It's a bit weird. This book is a bit odd. Nothing wrong with it, but there's a bit about it, doesn't it? A bit of personality. There, said the Rani's aunt. Don't know why she doesn't get a name, or at least a position. You know, like Queen Mother wouldn't always just be called the Queen's sister's aunt. Even the bird knows, I guess, that the tigers eat people. I mean, this tiger even told everyone it eats people, so Maybe the bird was listening. "Leave me with the girl," said the tiger. And reluctantly the Rajah and the Rani and the Rani's aunt and the palace staff left the beast with Cinnamon. She pushed her fingers into its fur and felt its hot breath on her face. Now that's a bit confusing because the previous sentence says left the beast with Cinnamon. So you got the beast and then Cinnamon, and then it switches around. She pushed her fingers into its fur. This it's. I just got a bit confused. I know that the tiger isn't pushing its fingers into Cinnamon's fur, but the word "it" is sometimes a bit odd. Normally they've been saying the tiger. I don't know if they said if it was a boy or a girl tiger. It just says the tiger. I've been assuming it was a bloke. I mean, can you not tell by the mane? I mean, lions and lionesses look quite different based because of the mane and stuff. Not so sure about tigers. Anyway, the tiger put Cinnamon's hand into his. Oh, so it's a he now. So it's it there and his here. It's just inconsistent. I'm not gonna help us get any less confused. They call it a hand, which is nice, because normally you would call it a paw or something. But a hand is, well, suggesting that this is almost like a human tiger. I mean, it was acting like a god and talking like a person. "Pain," said the tiger, and he extended one needle-sharp claw into Cinnamon's hand. It pierced her soft brown skin, and a bead of bright blood welled up. Cinnamon whimpered. It's a bit weird giving the person a name like Cinnamon when there's animals around, because Cinnamon does sound a bit like a pet's name. Whereas here it's the princess. Well, that's very violent. I mean, I guess it's not very violent. A tiger would be capable of much more extreme violence, but seems quite mean. But maybe there's a reason for it. Bloodletting is known to. I mean, it was used a lot for medicinal purposes in the past. Although just as one bead of blood, it doesn't look like they're going to siphon off a pint of the stuff. "Fear," said the tiger. Okay, he's just trying to create, or like, what do you call it? He's just trying to create different emotional responses. So the first one's pain, now he's doing fear. "Fear," said the tiger, and he began to roar, starting so quietly you could scarcely hear it, working his way up to a purr, then a quiet roar, like a distant volcano. There's none of these comma things just inserted. Then to a roar so loud that the palace walls shook. Cinnamon trembled. So it's working. His method of inducing pain and fear, they've both worked. Well done, tiger. Maybe he's done this before. There she is, trembling on the end of a long bench, or possibly a sofa. "Love," said the tiger, and with his rough red tongue. There's been a couple of alliterations. There was a bead of blood or something. Now there's a rough red tongue. He licked the blood from Cinnamon's hand and licked her soft brown face. Well, Anne wouldn't have needed licking if he hadn't pierced it to start with. He's looking very much more friendly there, though. "Love?" Oh no, wait a minute. "Love?" It's a whisper. Whispered Cinnamon in a voice wild and dark from disuse. So she's talked, he's done it. Well done, tiger. He's going to get himself some mango trees. And the tiger opened his mouth and grinned like a hungry god, which is how tigers grin. I don't know if we're supposed to have a bit more background knowledge of gods and how they walk and how they grin when hungry. I don't know about this. And there's a picture, so I guess that's how a hungry god grins. But it doesn't mean the tiger's hungry, so you might think The tiger's about to eat Cinnamon, but maybe not. The moon was full that night. Moons are often full. I mentioned this in another review, which I can link to here. That moons are often full in children's books when something of interest happens. Something about a full moon. I don't know if the illustrators just like drawing them and they're round. And people quite like drawing crescents as well. Gibbuses, though, very unpopular amongst children's illustrators. Barely see a gibbous. I mean, you would if you had a book about the phase of the moon. It would have the whole set, but very often full anyway. It was a bright morning. So they've been up all night with the moon, and then now it's morning. It was bright morning. It was bright morning. What does that mean? It was bright. It's like, well, that's weird. Don't know if that's an expression that people just use. It just means the dawn or something. Anyway, it was bright morning when the child and the tiger walked out of the room together. Cymbals crashed and bright birds sang, and Cinnamon and the tiger walked towards the Rani and the Rajah, who sat at one end of the throne room, being fanned with palm fronds by elderly retainers. It's another very difficult sentence. I'm not sure what a retainer is, but then I guess you just look at the picture and you realise that it's this person who's just dropped one of her fronds, and this bloke with a tash who's managing to hold on to both of his... I guess it means like a servant. I'm pretty sure in America they use retainer to mean a dummy that a baby would suck on. And I know that retainers, it's like an agency fee or something for PR work. But I don't think they're talking about that. It must just be a word for servants. There's quite a lot of vocabulary in this that I'm not that familiar with. There's the Green Parrot again, that's nice. This is reminding me nicely of Where is the Green Parrot, which is a book I have fond memories of. I don't know what kind of god looks like that. The Rani's aunt sat in a corner of the room, drinking tea disapprovingly. I quite like the way you can tell by their jewellery who's who, like even if you're not really concentrating. Although actually the Rani and the aunt have quite similar jewellery. They both have like quite a big ring going through their nose that seems to be connected to their left ear. But I'm pretty sure that old woman there, she's drinking something. That will be the tea. She's disapproving. Can she talk yet? Asked the Rani. Why don't you ask her? Growled the tiger. Can you talk? The Rajah asked Cinnamon. The girl nodded. She could have said yes. That would have been a good opportunity. Ha! Cackled the Rani's aunt. They've given her a pointy nose, like a stereotypical witch person. Even though she used to be something of a beauty, she's just got old. Well, and mean by the sounds of it. She can no more talk than she can lick her own backbone. Not sure if that's a common expression, or if Gaiman has made that up. Hush, said the Rajah to the Rani's aunt. I can talk, said Cinnamon. I think I always could. Then why didn't you? Asked her mother. She's not talking now, muttered the Rani's aunt, wagging one stick-like finger. That tiger is throwing his voice. Well, it's something you would want to investigate. Can no one get that woman to stop talking? Asked the Rajah of the room. He's the Rajah of the room. Oh no, he's asking everyone in the room if they can stop. Okay. Easier to stop 'em than start 'em, said the tiger. And he dealt with the matter. Oh dear, is he going to eat, what's her name? We don't know her name. She's just called the ant. But she's in all kinds of trouble here. Is she going to get gobbled? And Cinnamon said, why not? Well, they don't show the gobbling, but I guess the implication is that she gets eaten. And Cinnamon said, why not? Because I had nothing to say. And now, asked her father. And now the tiger has told me of the jungle, of the chattering of the monkeys, and the smell of the dawn, and the taste of the moonlight, and the noise a lakeful of flamingos makes when it takes to the air, she said. And what I have to say is this: I am going with the tiger. You cannot do this thing, said the Rajah. I forbid it. Now there, all those ands and commas and stringing the sentence together is quite good, because she's now able to talk. So now she now wants to talk. Claims to have been able to before, but now she's chattering away. A bit like in Mr. Chatterbox, which I've also reviewed on this channel. Doing that pointing thing. The idea is that there'll be an info card there that you can click on. But as he was doing it elsewhere, even in just in the narration, you'd lose the effect a bit here. If you only had it when she was chattering away, it would seem more impactful. There are little monkeys in those trees. Illustrations, oh, there's a crescent moon. Which isn't plausible, actually. You can't go from full to crescent. Well, I don't know what this is, actually. Maybe she's just imagining herself in the jungle. I don't know why they've drawn her in the jungle, because she's not been yet. She's imagining it then. Okay, so she can imagine any kind of moon she likes. It is difficult, said Cinnamon, to forbid a tiger anything it wants. And the Rajah and the Rani, after giving the matter a little consideration, agreed that this was so. And besides, we could have a look now to see if Ant has been gobbled. I can't see her anywhere. So I guess she has. And the Rajah and the Rani, after giving the matter a little consideration, agreed that this was so. And besides, said the Rani, she'll certainly be happier there. But what about the room in the palace, and the mango grove, and the parrot, and the picture of the Rani's late aunt? Asked the Rajah, who felt that there was a place for practicality in the world. That's another small alliteration. Give them to the people, said the tiger. And so an announcement was made to the people of the city that they were now the proud owners of a parrot, a portrait, and a mango grove, and that the Princess Cinnamon could speak, but would be leaving them for a while to further her education. This is quite funny, really, because it's very absurd to give a parrot to the people. Like, the people en masse won't really be able to do much with a parrot. And a portrait, I guess, just goes up in some public space. But it is quite funny because of its absurdity. Oh, there's a young girl there. She's very happy about having this parrot issued to her. And here they are in the jungle now. A crowd gathered in the town square. And they called it a city earlier, but I'll let that slide. And soon the door of the palace opened, and the tiger and the child came out. The tiger walked slowly through the crowd with the little girl on his back, holding tightly to his fur, and soon they both were swallowed by the jungle, which is how a tiger leaves. I quite like that. They've done a few of those, like they had which is what a hungry god, no, which is what how a god smiles. That's right. They kind of put this little explanation at the end. And I quite like the way they've been swallowed by the jungle after the swallowing incident of the ant we had earlier. So that's a nice link. So in the end, nobody was eaten. Oh no, here it is. Save only the Rani's elderly aunt. So they are revealing. They could have left that open, but they've said it explicitly here. Who was gradually replaced in the popular mind by the portrait of her, which hung in the town square, and was thus forever beautiful and young. They say town square again there. Doesn't look like much of a city here, actually. So that's probably... Oh, this town... Well, it's just a tree. It looks like actually quite a small settlement, judging from that picture. But yeah, that was quite good, I suppose. It says originally from England. There's a little note about the author. So it's not surprising that he uses English spelling, at least in this book. And it's in pounds. It cost $12.99 originally, this book. So this is almost certainly the British edition. First published in Great Britain in 2017. Anyway, So yeah, I quite like that. I found it quite hard to read, I must say. I mean, I don't quite get it. No, it's a bit odd. But some of his oddity is alright. The picture's very nice. The paper is very nice. It's a very high quality thing that the library have got their hands on. So I have to pause. Sorry about that. I was interrupted by the postman, as I believe happens in Park Life. By Blur. I was just saying that this is quite nice. It's very odd, and I was saying that the language is a bit tricky for, I would think, for young readers, with all the commas and stuff, but that does sometimes contribute to nice little asides. Like explanations, which are good. I'm a big fan of explanations. It's a bit odd having a girl called Cinnamon. I think a lot of people, when they buy this, they're going to think the tiger's called Cinnamon, or when they get it from the library, like I did. And it's also interesting that she's blind, but that they don't seem to care about that. They just get on with it, and the whole thing, like, you can see visibly that she has there's something going on with her eyes very early on in the book and on the front cover, but then it's actually the fact that she's mute that is basically the topic of the book. I thought it was quite funny, actually, the old woman getting eaten. Although I might not have... I don't know, I didn't mind them saying that she'd been eaten on the last page. Though I did quite like it the way the tiger just said, I'll deal with that. So you had it kind of implicit, but not explicit. But yeah, not bad. Do check it out. But don't give it to your very early readers, as they may struggle. Unless you want to challenge them. Then go for it. And thank you, and I shall see you next time for another of Mr. Bench's book reviews. Bye.